accumulation site. Morning, continuing. I reached for the recorder. I'm going to read the sentence exactly as it appears in the book. Exactly. No paraphrase. It says, signal origin confirmed. The signal is not produced by the network. The signal is produced by the investigators. The network learned to record it. I read it again. Then I looked at the pages before it, the English section, the portion that had been present when we arrived. I'd read it aloud when we first reached the current page, but I hadn't stopped on it. I went back. The English section begins mid-sentence, continuing from the script above it. The transition point is about a third of the way down the page. What comes before the transition in the older script, I still can't read. What comes after, and in each case the condition preceded the contact. The investigator carried the signal before entering the network. The network did not produce the listener. The network found the listener already present and built a record around them. I stood at the table and read that section 3 times. The condition preceded the contact. The signal existed in the investigator before the archive found them. Before 47 Marginal Road, before the blinking device, before any document or node or crescent mark. I thought about the device's behavior throughout the investigation, the way it responded to my presence near archive material, which I had always understood as the device detecting archive material. The device was detecting something. I had assumed the source was the material. The material was the other half of the interaction. The source was me. Hannah said quietly, "Check the earlier entries." I turned back through the book carefully, holding the pages by their edges, moving slowly. The script shifts several times. Not just one transition, but several. The language changing as the entries move back through time, each shift representing a different era's contribution to the record. I can't read most of it, but the structure is consistent throughout. Dated entries, brief, observational in tone, the same format as the current page, a record of cases. I found a section where the script matched the English portion's immediate predecessor, a transitional script, something between the oldest entries and the current language. In this section, at intervals, I found entries formatted differently from the surrounding text. Shorter, headed with a designation. I found one I could partially parse. The heading read something I couldn't fully decode, but below it, in a notation system that partially overlapped with the archive's own catalog format. A number. First. Below that, dates I couldn't read. Below the dates, a description I could only partially follow, but one phrase was clear enough. The phrase was a variant of what the current page said. The same meaning, the same direction, rendered in the older script but recognizable by its structure. Signal origin, listener, source. Case 1 had the same entry as Case 7. I kept turning back. I found Case 2, Case 3. I couldn't read the full entries, but the structure was identical each time. A case number, dates, the same essential notation about signal origin. Every case, the same finding. Every investigator who reached this room had confirmed the same thing. The archive had been recording this answer for as long as it had been recording anything. It had been waiting for us to come and read it. Hannah had moved to the far wall while I worked through the book. She said, "There's a drawer." I looked up. The table had a drawer, low, set into the stone on the near side, flush with the surface, no handle. I hadn't seen it when we entered because the book had taken my attention, and the drawer was the same stone as everything else, nearly invisible. Hannah had found it by running her hand along the underside of the table edge. I crouched and looked, pressed my fingers to the front of it. It opened easily. Stone moving on stone, worn smooth at the joint, used many times. Inside, a single object. Brass, small, a simple mechanism, a key. I picked it up, turned it over, a tag tied to it with a short length of cord. The tag was old, the paper stiffened with age, the ink faded but legible. 2 characters. 47. I held the key in my hand and looked at it for a long time. I have been carrying a key labeled 47 since early in the first season. It has been in my pocket through every node, every investigation, every recording. I have used it. I know what it opens. I have never questioned where it came from before it was in my pocket, never examined that gap in the record, never pushed on the fact that I had it before I fully understood what it was for. This key is not mine. This is a second key. Same label, same construction, as far as I can determine by comparison. Same brass, same simple mechanism, same proportions. I took out my own key and held them together, identical. 2 keys to 47 Marginal Road. One I've been carrying since the beginning. One that has been in this drawer, in this room, at the center of the primary grid, since before I arrived at 47 Marginal Road. The first listener had it. The first listener was at 47 Marginal Road. The first listener put something in this drawer. I cannot yet explain the key in my pocket, and that gap is the question the investigation has not yet answered. Hannah had come to stand beside me. She looked at the 2 keys in my hand. She didn't say anything, neither did I. The pulse had been steady throughout, 6 seconds, the interval it had settled at on the title shelf, present without mediation, coming from something that was now confirmed to be us as much as anything external. I had stopped counting it consciously. It was there the way breathing is there. Then it changed, not faster. Something else. A quality shift. The same interval but something added to it, or something I hadn't been attending to that I suddenly could hear. A second layer within the same pulse. Not an echo, not interference. A different signal at the same frequency, interleaved with the first. I went still. The second signal was not mine. I know what mine feels like now. 6 sessions and a title shelf interaction, and the device's entire history of reading me has given me that. This was different. Older, steadier. The way something sounds when it has been going for much longer than anything around it. I looked at Hannah. She heard it too. Her expression said she heard it too. The book was still open on the table, the current page with the ink-formed entry, and below the entry, below the sentence that had completed while we watched, the page was no longer blank. New ink. Moving slowly. A heading forming at the top of the next section. 2 words. Case 8. Then the heading stopped and the space below it remained empty. We watched it, the pulse at 6 seconds, the 2-layered signal, the older frequency underneath the one I recognized as my own. Then, below the Case 8 heading, 1 word formed, small, centered on the page, pending. The ink stopped. I looked at Hannah. She looked at me. I looked at the 2 keys in my hand. I looked at the recorder. The pulse hasn't stopped.